really look at acting as a career. It's something that you need to do.
Yeah.
Even now at 75, you still feel the need?
Yeah, it's a need in the sense I can't find anything as complex and interesting to do. But I need it in a story. I don't want to do reality, because reality never runs smooth.
Remember Nick Nolte, the Hollywood rebel who once ruled the big screen and got voted Sexiest Man Alive? Well, you won't believe how he lives now. From magazine covers and blockbuster films to rare Malibu sightings that leave fans stunned, Nolte's transformation is nothing short of jaw-dropping. Recently, he was spotted stepping out for dinner with Sean Penn and Josh Brolin. And let's just say, he didn't look like the Hollywood royalty you remember. A few weeks ago, diners at the iconic Nobu Malibu got an unexpected surprise. Out of nowhere, Hollywood legend Nick Nolte walked in, flanked by his old friends Sean Penn and Josh Brolin. But this wasn't the rugged heartthrob from the Prince of Tides or the grizzled tough guy from 48 H'ers. Instead, Nolte looked like he had just stepped off a fishing boat after a long day in the sun. His wild gray hair framed a weathered face, his white beard stretched scruffy and untrimmed, and his mint green shirt hung open like he couldn't be bothered to finish buttoning it. On his feet, a pair of worn sneakers that could have been older than some of the staff. Patrons reportedly did double takes. Within hours, the pictures hit social media, and fans went wild. Some couldn't believe this was the same man once crowned Sexiest Man Alive. Others applauded him for leaning into his own eccentricity, calling him the last true Hollywood rebel. And truth be told, Nolte didn't seem to care one bit. He laughed with friends, sipped his drink, and left the restaurant just as casually as he came. But that rare public sighting was only the surface. Behind the scruffy beard and laid-back Malibu vibe is a life far different and far stranger than most people would ever imagine. And it all starts in a house built around a tree. Far from the flashing cameras and crowded premieres, Nick Nolte has built a quiet world that's almost surreal. Tucked away in the hills of Malibu, his home isn't your typical celebrity mansion. It's a rustic retreat literally built around a giant sycamore tree with branches weaving through the property like something out of a fairy tale. Nolte calls it his sanctuary, a place where he can hear himself think after decades of Hollywood chaos. Mornings start early. Nolte wakes with the sun, makes coffee, and often drives his daughter Sophia to school before most people have even rolled out of bed. After that, it's just him and his private little world. He tends to his garden, reads, and sometimes scribbles down thoughts for a future script. He's traded late-night parties for early bedtimes, and once he quit drinking, cold turkey. He never looked back. And though the lifestyle seems calm, there's something magnetic about it. The man who once thrived on chaos now lives with simple routines, surrounded by nature and quiet. But just because Nolte has gone off the grid doesn't mean he's gone soft. Because when it comes to acting, he's still every bit the unpredictable force he's always been. Even at 84, Nolte hasn't completely disappeared from Hollywood. But the rules are different now. He only takes roles that he feels in his bones. No more chasing blockbuster fame or studio pressure. If the story doesn't move him, he simply says no. That's why his recent project, The Golden Voice, feels like the perfect fit. Released in early 2025, the film tells the story of a man searching for redemption through unexpected friendships and music, an echo of Nolte's own journey from Hollywood chaos to quiet reflection. He plays Barry, a character weathered by life, whose silence says more than words ever could. On set, he's still unpredictable. Co-stars have described him as raw and electric, able to shift from calm to explosive in a heartbeat. But there's a sense that Nolte is choosing quality over quantity now, leaving behind the Hollywood machine that made him famous. He's no longer chasing the spotlight. He's letting it find him on his own terms. And as calm as his life may seem today, Nolte's past is full of wild stories, controversies, and moments that almost destroyed him. Nick Nolte might be living like a quiet Malibu sage today, but his past reads like a Hollywood cautionary tale. For decades, he was the poster child for the hard-living movie star, gritty roles on screen, and an even grittier life behind the scenes. One of the most infamous moments came in 2002, when Nolte's name exploded back into headlines. He was arrested in Malibu for driving under the influence, and police found GHB in his system, a substance with a dangerous reputation. But it wasn't the arrest that shook fans the most. It was the mugshot. His wild hair stuck up in every direction. His face looked dazed and exhausted, and the photo instantly went viral. That single image became an internet legend, summing up decades of Hollywood burnout in one frame. Nolte later opened up about the incident in his memoir, Rebel, admitting that the moment forced him to take a long, hard look at his life. He called it a turning point, where he realized the lifestyle he'd been living wasn't sustainable. After that, he gradually stepped out of the Hollywood fast lane, swapping all-night parties for quiet mornings in Malibu. And it wasn't just the law that added to his wild man reputation. There were legendary on-set feuds, too. The most famous was with Julia Roberts during the filming of I Love Trouble in 1994. Roberts reportedly called Nolte completely disgusting. While rumors swirled that their chemistry was so bad, body doubles were used to avoid filming together. Nolte would later dismiss the feud as absurd. But the stories only fueled the myth of him as Hollywood's unpredictable rebel. Even today, these stories cling to his legacy. Fans remember Nolte not just for his powerful performances, but for that untamed energy that made it feel like anything could happen around him. And yet, behind the chaos, there was a man who craved something most people never saw: family. If Nolte's career was defined by rebellion, his family life tells a completely different story. For all the wild headlines and public scandals, Nolte is a fiercely private man when it comes to the people he loves most. And in recent years, they've become the center of his world. In 2016, Nolte quietly married Clytie Lane, a British actress and musician who had been by his side for years. Together, they're raising their daughter Sophia, born in 2007, who's now a teenager. And despite Nolte's Hollywood pedigree, his parenting style is surprisingly down to earth. He does school drop-offs, encourages her creativity, and even acted alongside her in Head Full of Honey, where she played his granddaughter, a role that felt almost autobiographical. Sophia, by all accounts, keeps her dad grounded. Friends say she jokingly calls him Grandpa because of the huge age gap, and Nolte doesn't mind. He actually laughs about it. He said in interviews that being an older father gives him a perspective he didn't have during the height of his career. He's calmer now, more reflective, and fully aware of the time he wants to spend with his family. His home life is simple, but meaningful. Nolte cooks meals, tends to his garden, and spends evenings with his wife and daughter away from the noise of the city. The man who once chased chaos now finds happiness in reading a book by the fire or working on a script in his backyard. It's a life almost no one would have predicted for Hollywood's former bad boy. But that's the thing about Nick Nolte. Just when you think you've figured him out, he flips the script. And as he's aged, one thing has become clear. He's living life entirely on his own terms. At 84, Nick Nolte is the definition of a survivor. Hollywood has a way of chewing people up and spitting them out. But Nolte has somehow found a way to endure by reinventing what survival looks like. These days, he talks openly about the realities of aging. He admits the aches and fatigue are real, the memory isn't what it used to be, and even simple routines can take effort. But he doesn't complain. He adapts. His secret? Discipline. Nolte sticks to a strict routine. Early mornings, daily walks, light workouts, and a diet packed with protein and vegetables. He's sworn off alcohol completely, saying he simply stopped one day and never went back. And beyond the physical habits, he keeps his mind active, reading, writing, and taking the occasional acting role that actually challenges him. Even in his later years, Nolte refuses to fade away. He's not chasing the spotlight anymore, but he also isn't afraid to step into it if the right story calls his name. When asked about retirement, Nolte has said he'll keep going until the body gives out. And there's something almost defiant in that. He doesn't see age as the end of the story. He sees it as a new chapter, one where he calls all the shots. And that mindset is exactly why his rare appearances fascinate people. He isn't trying to play the Hollywood game anymore. He's just living, and doing it in a way that feels undeniably, unapologetically Nolte. From heartthrob to Hollywood wild man to reclusive family man in Malibu, Nick Nolte's life has been anything but ordinary. He's been praised, ridiculed, arrested, celebrated, and forgotten, sometimes all in the same decade. And yet, he's still here, walking into Nobu with a scruffy beard and sneakers, making the world wonder what story he's living next. Maybe that's the craziest part of all. After a lifetime of chaos, Nick Nolte seems happier than ever living on his own terms. No studio bosses, no publicist controlling the narrative. No need to impress anyone. Just a man, a tree-wrapped house in Malibu, and the quiet satisfaction of a life fully lived. Nick Nolte may not look like the Hollywood king he once was, but maybe this is the truest version of him yet. Wild, free, and completely unforgettable.